astounding. I lost my soul and you helped me found it. Sink in the valley but watch on the mountain. Niggas like children, you know they be pouting. I gotta get back how it used to be. Before all the bills and all of the stress. When it was just you and me. When there was no weapon I'd ever could form because of the unity. Tell me what you do if you was me. It was my passion to live on my dreams. Had to go grab the eulogy. But out on this lonely road, the ones who laugh and pointed at me, they done became the jokes. Hopped in the booth, he said he won't smoke and they bring the flame to tote. I'm speaking facts and he claim my boast. Lately every day gotta claim a toast. Yeah. Get out your feelings, nigga, mind your business. Make that crowd wanna raise their hand. Palms to the sky, destructo killing. Chase your dreams, nigga, fuck those critics. Run that tab, nigga, fuck those digits. Call 60 seconds so you know I mean it. Unwrap my fear so I know I'm gifted, yeah.
Gotta work for the focus. When I'm trying to see, gotta work to the middle. Gotta work for the focus. When I'm trying to see, gotta work to the middle.
Yeah, back to back for a check. Nah, back to back for these haters talking crazy. We might slide for they neck. I just turned me down $500,000. I need $500,000 in respect. Nah, a lot of niggas gon' get checked. Since a rookie hung with vets. Look how I skate through the test. Knew I was gon' make it. All of my chances I take it. Been in the rules, I'ma break it. Said had no patience. Been dodging her like them Asians. Gotta go get it, I'm caking. Gotta go get it, I'm caking. Mama, you know that I made it. Can't wait to say it. Know I've been going through all of these phases. Open for now to the public, but my next crib gon' be gated.
Gotta work for the focus. When I'm trying to see, gotta work to the middle.
Yeah! Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another Community Gems episode, where the community joins us to bring the gems. All right, before we get started, I just got one important announcement. Can I get to the yams? Sweet yams. Show me the way, hey, 'cause I got bills to pay. It's almost Thanksgiving time. It's almost Thanksgiving time, baby. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? No matter what your diet is, you want to break at that time. Community Gems. What I'm cooking, I'm cooking sitting down. That's what I'm cooking. I'm cooking a bunch of sitting down and waiting patiently. I got my wife, I got my sisters, I got my mom's coming out. You feel me? Like, I'm finna enjoy that day. And I'm finna be singing all day long that Fetty Wap cover. Can I get to the yams? Sweet yams. Show me the way, hey, 'cause I got bills to pay. That song has been stuck in my head. It's just the hook. It's just the hook. It's just the hook stuck in my head. Good to see you, Glenn Blinn. Almost got that Symphony desktop. It's so good. It's so good. Art Greffin, what's the deal? Let's go on some background music. World Meta Beats. Yup. Dion Grace, King Wilson. You know the vibes. You know. Can I get to the yams? Sweet, sweet yams. Show me the way, hey, 'cause I got bills to pay. And today we have to answer some questions. I would love to have you join me. I'm going to put up a Zoom link right now. I'm going to put this link up now. Boom. Pinned. All right, so here's the thing about it. You know, I'm loving this series. I love the fact that you guys are the ones giving the gems, and I just get to kind of sit back, listen, pick up game, pick up information that maybe perhaps I had never even thought about it from that POV. And I'm so glad to have so many POVs in here and points of view, by the way. And today's topic really deals with the best and the worst career advice that you've ever received. What I'm noticing, and I've been noticing it ever since I've kind of like reactivated myself on this independent grind. I got re-energized about what the future holds. Happy holidays, Pearl. As I start to get really re-energized about it, it started to dawn on me. There's a lot of things I got to unlearn. There's a lot of things that must be unlearned. What's up, Avadon? There's a lot of things that must be unlearned first. There's a lot of rules and parameters set around what it means to be successful, set around what it means to thrive, what it means to quote unquote blow up within two different ecosystems that I talk about a lot, the major label one and the independent one. And I feel like we're in a space now where so many people are starting to not only get activated about their independence, but they're starting to see, damn, independence is not actually the risk. I was talking to the artist you heard earlier that started off the stream, Rico. I was talking to him last night as he was leaving a session. We were talking about how dope that Location episode was. What's up, Sleepy Montana? We were talking about how great the music was and how great his career has been taking off and the things that he's been doing and, you know, labels and whatnot that have approached him and wanted to work with him. And I had to remind him, I'm like, we have been so programmed from dipping in and out of the independent ecosystem and the major label ecosystem that we have been convinced the big risk is going independent. And the bigger risk is actually, in my opinion, going the major label direction. And so some of the worst advice that I've ever received comes down to the major label route is the only way that people will view what you do as being serious. Terrible advice. Terrible advice. Ricky Ross Jr. Hey, Curtis, hope I can get some kind of positive vibes. I can use some. Now I'm unemployed in music, and now all I have, I'm afraid. Once again, I think, Ricky Ross, I'm sorry that happened, my friend. I am genuinely empathetic for you. But when we say music is all that I have now and that I'm afraid, we're setting ourselves up for more heartbreak. So your life is abundant. You're alive. You're alive. You're alive. You're here. You're alive. You're alive. You are alive. You are alive, and you have the ability to type. You just typed me. You have the ability to articulate yourself. You are not a vegetable. You are someone who has the ability to flip their situation around. If you have the ability to have your situation torn down, that means you have the same power to build it up. So keep the faith, man. Keep the faith. Keep the faith, and try not to make the language be the thing that pushes you down even further. Right? Speak life into your situation. But I will absolutely have the positive energy, positive vibes. Here's my POV of it, though. Worst advice has always been things like fake it till you make it. I can't stand that conversation. And it usually comes from people who are faking it to make it. And when they say fake it to make it, what do they mean? They mean to act like you've been there before. That's another one. Oh, that's a whole nother one. Fake it till you make it irritates me, I think, more so than anything else, because how can you operate as if you have something you've never had? How? Why would you want to walk around as if everything is in the place it's supposed to be when it's not in the place it's supposed to be? Right? Why would you not want to be proactive in every aspect of your life? If you take it serious and you know that you're being activated to do something and build yourself up into a place, into a person that you've never been, you cannot act like you've been there. It's literally going to destroy, to become the next person that you want to become. The idea of person has to be questioned. The idea of who you are becoming, who you are, a lot of that has to get destroyed in the process. So this idea of fake it till you make it, well, what are you faking? You're faking who you want to be from the lens of who you're not. Excuse me. You're faking who you want to be from the lens of someone who has never lived that life. So that's why fake it to make it to me is just terrible advice. Other terrible, I think I've received more terrible advice than good advice, unfortunately. And I want to hear from you guys today about the worst advice that you've ever received. Collaboration should be transactional. It's not that deep. I don't like that advice. I don't like that advice. That collaboration should all just be a matter of, hey, I just met you. You do music, I do music. Let's just make it happen like that. I think that is a industry construct that has been an establishment for everything else. And while we're on the industry, how about the industry standard? I couldn't stand that. You should buy the industry standard. When we know the industry standard has been bought from a company who was there first. Doesn't mean it's the best. It just means that it's the one that most people agree upon in that ecosystem. Some of the best advice that I've ever received is if you are falling down and you find yourself getting ready to hit a rock bottom, land on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up. That was Les Brown. Some other great advice is to I got a bunch of them swimming in my head. What's some other great advice that I've received? Life is happening for you and not to you. I love it. Always being able to look at your life and realize that even through the worst of times, it's not about being poisonously optimistic or toxic optimism. It's about understanding that all of this is necessary to get to the route that you want to get to. What's up, Lowkey Jimmy? All of this is necessary in order for you to get where you say you want to get. I love that one. It stops me from playing the victim. I don't ever want to be the victim, even if I'm in a situation where I'm the victim. Another one, great advice. No matter what happens in your music career, it is your fault. It is your fault. Excuse me. Even if it's not your fault, it's your responsibility. So take accountability. That has stopped me once again from jumping away from the very dangerous place a lot of artists and producers get to, where they end up blaming the industry for all of their problems. They end up blaming them as the reason why they cannot succeed. And as powerful as the industry, that other ecosystem can be, I don't want to give it. I don't want to give it my power. I refuse. So that's some of the best advice, some of the worst advice. I want to hear from you guys, though. I'm pretty sure I'll think of more as I go along. I see Pearl has shared some worst advice I got over my life. Music isn't a valid job. You aren't serious enough. You don't have enough education. Women can't do that. I know that's a pain point for a lot of women, is hearing that women can't do this or that. Use this DAW instead of that DAW is the worst advice I've ever heard. Ooh, yeah, and it's always established by people who don't do what you do. You've never seen the first me. Have you thought about that? You've never seen the first me. So how could you know what's best for me? You've never seen the first me. How could you know what's best for me? Yet and still people feel like they have that. I don't know. We got our first guest in here. Lowkey Jimmy. You know, it's always a pleasure to talk to you, my friend. Let me go ahead and get the dots connected. As you're starting to get connected on this side, we got to welcome our friend over here, Lowkey Jimmy.
Yo.
What's the deal, man? How you doing, bro?
What's good, buddy? How are you?
Good. Happy holidays and all that good stuff, man. You know, no matter what it is, I'm always grateful for my folks who work so hard to get a little bit of rest time. Are you gonna be off?
Yeah, I did. I had to take that PTO, man. I had to.
I know how it be, especially when you used to work and it's like, yeah, a lot of holidays don't necessarily correlate the same way as everybody else. But first and foremost, how you been, man? How's it, the end of this project coming? This remix.
You know what, man? It's coming good. I meant to hit you up and let you know that I think it's important to get that car test in, because I put it in the car and it sounded the way I thought it should sound. So when I was in the house playing it off the Rocket Fives, you know, they kind of sub heavy. So I was getting a lot of frequencies that probably wouldn't be heard on the car, on the iPhone, et cetera, et cetera. But we good, man. We got it good. We got it good.
Good. All right. Well, tell me some of the best and the worst music career advice that you've ever received during your journey, because I know the folks want to hear about it.
I think, and I was listening with my mom earlier. I think the worst advice, and you kind of touched on it. I can't pinpoint verbatim what that advice is, but I think we have to be mindful of taking any advice from anyone that's not where we want to be. You know what I mean? So it doesn't even really matter what the advice is. We can kind of listen. I think it's important to listen, but you kind of got to just gauge like, all right, you know, this guy's telling me to do this, but he's not doing it either. Or he's, you know what I'm saying? He's not doing where the lane I want to be in. I'm not going to take advice from a trap artist and I'm not a trap rapper. You know what I'm saying?
and you know, I always use the example, like, would you take plumbing advice from the florist? Would you take cable advice from the person fixing your electricity? Like, yeah, you may have some overlappage of information, but I'm going to the professional. I'm going to the person that most looks like the result that I want. And it's such a tricky place to navigate, because I think a lot of times we see family as the main culprits of that one that you're talking about when we initially start off, right? And not saying that's that situation with you, but I just know for a lot of my folks, like they had never seen someone that sounded like me that would find success like I intended to do it. So for them, they would give these predictions about why it wouldn't work. And it's like, damn, I don't even get a chance to be the first me. So I had to figure out my own ways. And I know a lot of people right now are probably going to have to navigate that tomorrow and probably all weekend if they're going to visit family out of state. Asking about the music career, asking about what you're doing, and asking about, have you made any progress? How have you kind of navigated? It doesn't have to be necessarily family, but just people who are close ones who don't get it.
Man, you already know I got older parents, but my mom, she always says stuff like, you know, why don't you DM Drake? Like, I'm like, I mean, I could, but you know what I mean? It just really doesn't work like that. But
yeah.
I mean, luckily, I do have very supportive, you know, people around me. But unfortunately, I'm the only one in this space. So it's kind of like, you just really, like me, I tap in with guys like you, guys like Dorian, guys like, there's a podcast, I'm gonna send it to you, and they kind of just talk about marketing. It's from a music aspect, and it's for every genre, every business.
Right.
But I think we're in a special time to where like you can be exactly what you want to be. You can put out what you want to put out, and you got platforms like YouTube and TikTok that if you consistent, you're gonna get the right people to listen eventually. You know what I mean? And that's just kind of how you have to look at it. I think the biggest hurdle is just that consistency in those months and those years potentially that you might not get those 1,000, 5,000 listeners yet.
Yeah.
But you just got to know you're doing the right thing and keep pushing. And then eventually that's really the difference between people who make it and people who don't, is that time.
What is your concept? And I ask this because I really respect your opinion on these things, and we see eye to eye on so much. And it's very little time that we've been building, bro. But what is your idea? And if you don't want to share, it's all good, because I know it's a very personal question. But what is your idea of making it?
I love this question. And bro, there's not gonna be too many questions that you ask me that I don't want to share, because I believe like as much as you share to us, as much as I share to the community, we're gonna get back. You know what I'm saying? It's a big circle.
I just want to be respectful of it, because I know it's such a personal question to ask, because some people are like, well, for me, making it is this number of streams, or making my high school friends who said I couldn't do this proving them wrong. And some people just don't. And I'm not saying that's what it is for you, but I just, just out of respect. But I'm glad that you're open to sharing it.
I think for me, man, I'm as you know, bro, I'm a simple guy.
Yeah.
I just want to make good music, and as long as I'm able to make money, save a little money, just pay my bills. Like honestly, pay my bills.
Yeah.
Give me a little splurge money here and there. But that's really the main thing. But as and that's just the realistic, humble Jimmy.
Yeah.
Now the musician and the competitor in me, obviously, I want guys to know, oh, you know what I'm saying, I need to go to Jimmy for this, or you know what I'm saying, oh, this, you need a composition like this, hit Jimmy up, or the loops or the drums, or I need some Jimmy drums, et cetera, et cetera. And that's just the competitor in me. But I think the bottom line is, if I can stop working the rat race in 40 hours a week, I'm good. I'm happy, bro. I ain't gonna lie. I'm gonna be happy.
Man, it's a lot of folks who feel that same exact way, and they don't understand how much more that is accessible than this industry fantasy that a lot of people have. And not saying that they can't make it, but it's a matter of, I think a lot of people think that they're gonna do it on their own terms, when that is a system over there that is more business than it is music. And if you don't know your business, and they smell the excitement on you, they smell the vulnerability of you putting everything that you've ever worked for on this, they know that there's a very little likelihood that you're going to say no to whatever they put in front of you.
Hey, bro, I was watching the Roots. What's the guy, the drummer of the Roots?
Questlove.
Questlove has a podcast, and he had this lady on there. She was one of the first vulgar R&B artists, like before Meg and before Cardi, in the 60s. And these people back then were working full-time jobs, 40-hour a week, up until, I'm talking about, like, she was saying, like, look, I didn't even quit my job until, like, I got like 2 or 3 awards. So imagine like, Questlove getting a Grammy, but still, like, that Sunday he's getting ready for work on Monday.
Yeah.
And that kind of put it into perspective. And I think that was important for a lot of DIYers. Like, look, bro, like, it's not about, like you said, the industry. Like, I don't think the industry is in my tunnel vision anymore, luckily. Because I'm not gonna say it's not obtainable, but bro, it's not needed.
It's not. I mean, especially now when you got all the tools and resources you have now. So, last question I have for you, because I got Avadon getting ready to come in here. What is the best advice that you think you've received at this point of your music career?
I think the best advice is, as of lately, I think the narrative that you've been pushing about the industry, the industry, and then the new standard. I think it's not like a certain thing you said. It's just kind of just getting the industry, the Grammys and the top #1 billboards out of your vision, out of that tunnel vision, and kind of just making good music, being consistent, and letting time and hard work do its job. I mean, I don't know if that's an actual quotable sentence.
No, I mean, we get the sentiment. Yeah, that's important.
You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of the best advice, just consistency, man. Stay consistent.
Man, salute to you, bro. You gonna join us on Monday? Is that happening?
Of course. I'm gonna shoot you some new files, but I'm gonna definitely be there.
All right, bro. Well, man, ladies and gentlemen, this is Lowkey Jimmy. One of my favorite people to talk to on here.
I appreciate you, bro.
Man, appreciate you. All right, I'll be talking to you soon.
All right, peace.
Peace. Lowkey Jimmy, ladies and gentlemen. So, a really, really dope point was brought up that I think that I want to expand upon. A lot of you are getting ready to get in front of family, and you're going to feel the need to, like, poke your chest out a little bit, especially if you've achieved things and you've done things that you think are worthy of having the conversation on, and you're going to be challenged. You're going to be challenged by people who have never done what you've done, and it's going to sting a little bit if it doesn't come out in a respectful way because of their proximity and closeness to you. So a lot of you are going to do what many of us do sometimes, which is try to defend ourselves, which is try to justify, which is try to get their validation. So with that said, I got some amazing advice. It wasn't specifically to me, but I was watching a bunch of reels, a bunch of shorts on YouTube, and I saw one from Brad Leah. It's one of my favorite personalities. And he said, you know what I do? He's like a salesman guy. He's like a kind of like a Grant Cardone kind of energy. He's like, you know what I say to people? You know, he said, who come to me and they're asking like, hey, are you still working on that business? He says, absolutely. What else is going on? That's his thing. He smiles and he says, yep, answers the question. He says, what else is going on? I mean, I just feel like you're working on that stupid music thing. I just feel like it's, you know, it's just, do you think it's really going somewhere? Absolutely. What else is going on? And he said, just smile through it. And something about that just makes them not want to ask any more questions. So I just love that advice. I love that advice. And it's something that I definitely will utilize if necessary. I don't think it's going to happen during this holiday season, but you know what I'm saying? But it's, you know, them folks be out there folking. You know, them folks be out there doing what they do. Hey, Avadon, the man. What's going on with you? Hold on.
Oh.
Hold on just a second. Avadon, hold on. Let me get you back here. Let me get you a round of applause, too. What are we doing?
Appreciate you, big bro.
What are we doing? Like, what are we really doing?
Happy holidays to your family, too, man.
Huh?
Happy holidays to you and your family.
Man. Thank you, bro. Same to you. So,
appreciate it, man.
With that said, man, what is some of the best advice and some of the worst advice that you've received at this stage of your career or throughout your career?
I think we should start with the worst. We can end on a good note.
Oh, because I'm sure we've all received a significant more amount of terrible advice for sure.
Listen, the worst advice I've been given is uncommon to hear this, but hear me out. Stay on the grind.
And talk about it.
And it's like, where you really think about this last week, we talked about the power of words, right?
Yeah.
I want us to really think about that. When you look up the word grind in that context, it means hard, dull work. So I want to say, where you see a business owner who has a 7, 8, 9-figure business, do you see them staying on the grind?
Yeah, because they're not a business operator; they're a business owner. It's a difference.
And that's the mindset. It's like, if you start with that mindset of hard, dull work, it's you take the title of owner, but working as an employee.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know what's crazy? You know what's crazy about that? I've heard, who was it? Was it? No, it was Jim Rohn. He said, some of you treat yourself so badly. He said, if you had to work for yourself, would you quit? And it dawned on me like, yeah, I would quit because I grind it out. I do these terrible hours. I don't allow myself to go eat anything. I force myself to stay up till god awful times of the night just to get an edit done. I strain my eyes in front of the computer. I'm not really doing a whole lot of physical self-care until it's the absolute, last case, and I need it.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't want to work for that employer, but yet and still we do it because it's the grind. It's the grind. But continue. I'm sorry.
And no, you're good. And it's like, we do it for a medal that we'll never receive.
And
it's like, and the worst part, which you touched on this last year, like either last or 2 years, with what are the statistics of one's own eulogy? How many people show up for the funeral? Even less to the burial.
Yeah, especially if it rains. If it rains, it's like significantly falls off. Yeah.
And it's like, even less will remember you in a month after that.
Yeah.
And it's like, do I work so hard that the people who saw me the closest, I burnt and grinded myself out, they have to suffer the loss. And everybody goes on about their life.
Yep.
That's why I say it's the worst advice, because it takes away from the value that you're trying to get more of. We work harder to have more valuable and memorable moments with the family, but you take away from that family time that you want so much precious time of, to put into your business.
Yeah.
And it's like, why don't we invest some of the money to just start hiring people to take some of the load off as a business does?
And it's not stuff they're gonna teach you, because if they teach you that, then you become them, and some people are not secure in their position.
Yep. But here's the gag. There's more of us than them.
Yeah, yeah. Hello. All right, so you wanted to end off on a positive note. What is some of the best advice you've received for your music career?
The best advice I received is borrow from others, and we've been taught don't do that because it's biting. But here's the truth of the matter.
Yeah.
No matter how many times you borrow, there's only one of you. So if someone takes a sample and I sample that same thing, it's going to sound radically different.
Absolutely.
If we use the same drums, 9 times out of 10, there's one of those unwritten rules we talk about is don't use that sample because it's been used already. And I don't know who made that rule. I broke it so many times, but it's like we don't necessarily allow ourselves to fully go in, because what if sampling that one sample is what challenges you to use new sounds that you never used before, and that you can find new things about yourself that you can use for another beat. There's many times where I saw when I would take from an old sample that I would use different drum variations that I was forced to use. I wouldn't use the same sound drums. I would see a new sound in myself. I'm like, whoa, this is actually pretty cool. And then I would take something in my bag that I can use for future productions. So that's the best advice. No matter how it looks,
right,
it's always going to sound like you.
You know what kind of, and this triggers another part of my brain, in that it makes me wonder where a lot of these hip hop rules came from. It makes me wonder who established them, especially if we can't put a name on who established the rule. But it went so viral and so prevalent through our culture that it makes you really, really think, who would benefit from 2 records not sounding the same? Excuse me, who would benefit? Yeah, who would not benefit from 2 records sounding the same? That sounds like, to me, somebody who's doing business.
I'm gonna tell you exactly. You could say I have my tinfoil hat on right now.
Yeah, go ahead. Let's go tinfoil. Let's go there. Let's go conspiracy. Let's go dark web of the YouTube music industry right now. Let's go.
I'll tell you, agents from the other ecosystem.
The agents from the other ecosystem. Yeah, that sounds like a whisper in somebody's ear. Like, man, you gonna let them steal your stuff, man? Don't let them steal your stuff, bro. That's biting, and we abide by them, and we don't. What laws do you abide by that are not written in text, but have been passed down to you from somebody that got it passed down to them, and nobody can put a name from who it came from?
I was just saying, for me back then, when I finally embraced that, they said, you are just copying how these. I said, okay, if I'm copying, then do it better than me then.
Yeah.
And it's like, sometimes you gotta exert yourself to the place where it's like, I'm gonna do what I need to do, because at the end of the day, I love this craft enough to experiment. When you see jazz players take from each other all the time, and there's a respect there, because if somebody in this day could take saxophone riffs from a John Coltrane, that's respect. If you could keep up with him, that's respect. If you could take from a Miles Davis, but if you can't, but in our culture, in this culture of hip hop, if you take from here, oh, you still in that person's style. Do you know how many people like have Tupac and Biggie inspired, and they don't even know Rakim, that they don't even know it's like way you.
Go ahead. No, I was gonna say, do you know how many versions of Tupac and Biggie are homeless and we've never met them?
Yeah.
You see these viral videos of somebody who starts like just barring up like crazy. You're like, damn, why nobody ever signed? It's because we don't know everybody in the world. As much as we like to believe that, because of the whole hype machine of the culture, where we're like, oh no, this person's not relevant because they don't have sales. This person's not relevant because that's ecosystem infiltration talk right there to me. That's just programming.
And not only that, I would say also too, here's the thing. talent is good,
Mm-hmm.
but someone who works hard with their talent is unbeatable.
Every time.
Talent that refuses to work hard gets lazy. And
Yeah.
I'm not trying to come at anyone with that. I'm just saying it's like that's the difference between a person who's nice in the courts
Mm-hmm.
in the courtyard than someone who's in the NBA. Because
Yeah.
the person in the NBA applies the discipline to maintain the endurance for 4 quarters.
Yes.
We have seen people who you could play a good ball game,
Uh-huh.
but you play 3.5 quarters.
Yeah.
No, we need you for the full 4 to win the game.
Yes.
Full four quarters wins
like,
championships.
like, what are we doing? What are we doing? We need you to show up, and nobody like somebody like a Paul George, for instance. Paul George can have the best season that he's had with the Clippers, his whole career since he's been with the Indiana Pacers, and he had like his MVP type of years, and then he throws air balls off of the side of the backboard in the bubble. And cannot live that down for 2 years because the team then, I think was it a 3-1 deficit that the Nuggets came back and beat them. Nobody remembers what you did before then. They don't remember that. They only remember how you ended. They only remember how you finished this journey. And so it's important to set yourself up. Only good as your last dish. Man, oh man, the gems are abundant with this one. I feel like Yoda. The gems are abundant with this one. So best and worst advice. What words of encouragement do you have to the folks out here who are getting ready to get around family or get around folks who may not all be as loving and supportive as everybody else about what they've been doing the rest of the year?
I will say this: be prepared to have even the closest people not honor, see, or respect what you do. But the thing is, it's not their responsibility to have your vision. If you have 20/20 vision, they have glasses on, you're going to see things that they don't, even if they have assistants in seeing it. You have to see it. If you see it, it's your responsibility to get there and to achieve it. Because when you achieve it, even though they can't see it, they have ears. They're going to hear from somebody else, and then your name is going to come in. Your name is going to come into their ears from somebody else they know. Then that's when they come back to you in their soul. And it's a shame it happens that way, but you know what? That's life. Because the familiarity is really real. When people are familiar with you, sometimes they can only see you from when they met you. They can't see you from what you're becoming and what you're evolving into. And that's sometimes life. I'm a victim of falling into that sometimes. I have to step back and then, allow people that I know, I'm like, yo, you're not going to be the same person that I met back then. I got to give you the honor and the respect to grow.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't have that. So it's like, as you give yourself grace, give other people grace and patience to catch up. And the real ones, they'll be there. They'll be there to celebrate with you.
Yeah. That's, man, crucial. Shout out once again to our friend Avadon. Thank you so much for joining us, my friend. Giving the gems per usual.
Y'all be safe out here.
You too. Happy holidays, fam. Happy holidays.
Man. Peace.
Ladies and gentlemen, Avadon. Yeah, and I think it's all, just to expand upon what he said, I think it's also important for you to remember that when you get around these festive situations, these family environments, try not to internalize that criticism, because as Avadon said, they've never had to live or walk in your shoes. And instead of taking it as an attack, instead of taking it as, something that you have to defend, take it as, this is just a moment. This conversation doesn't define me, and even if it stings, it's not who I am. I am not going to digest this. Even if I feel it, feel the pain, but understand that everybody's going to go back home. You're going to go back home, and Monday is no different than Wednesday in terms of what you actually need to do. You'll be right back there on your grind, and it's not for them. And I think sometimes the same way when we found out Santa Claus wasn't real, the same way we found out when wrestling wasn't real as little kids, And the heartbreak, when it started making sense to us, we needed that so that we could grow. Noah Lewis, do people really have this level of trouble over the holidays? Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't know if it's a cultural thing, but I do understand that when it comes to a music career, not every family is supportive, and it is like that. That's why we're talking about it. So just ensure you know who you are. And then I think answering with a smile is so strong. I think that's such a strong response. Just answer with a smile. Answer with a smile and be like, absolutely. What else is new? Because then it's like, it makes the other person say, damn, like, you really think you something, huh? You think you doing something. I don't have to think. I know. I see what I'm doing. I'm with me every day. So, yeah, don't internalize it. And plus, sometimes you got to take, same way, that was the whole purpose of that example. I'm going to bring HGC in here. The whole purpose of that example of the wrestling and the A-Soul said, it's not real. The whole issue with putting these things on a pedestal is that they need to be taken down so that you can grow, so that you can see the world for what it is and you progress along with it. I think that there's certain family members that we may have that are up on a pedestal because of who they've been to us, but we don't recognize that this is another human being with another opinion, just like any other human being or stranger that you meet in the street. Only difference is that it has a different kind of sting because it's somebody that you care about and that you believe cares a lot about you, but they're still a different person. So I think that's it. Yeah, Alpha Asset, you're going to have to stay on topic. I'm not answering that shit today. There's a topic here. Don't do that. Don't be a distraction. Don't do that. Don't do that. We got to literally have a topic up here and down here. We're not doing that. HGC.
Oh, I can't even, hold on.
Take your time. There we HGC.
Cracking game. What's good?
Up, man? How you doing, bro?
Man, I'm great, bro.
Look, I'm up here trying to talk best and worst career advice. They want to talk about FL Studio. You go make a beat.
Bro, okay, bro. 21, hey, you know what? 21 just dropped. Go get that.
Just go get it. Just go,
beta or whatever. Go play with that.
Why are we talking about hypotheticals? What would I use if I didn't use that? How would you breathe if you didn't use air? I don't know.
How would I sing if I didn't have a voice?
How would you walk around if you didn't have a head? I don't know. It don't compute. So I'm sure, especially because I feel like you came a part of a generation that was exposed, and I don't want to talk for you, but I feel like you came into a generation that was exposed to the internet world of advice. And I imagine that's got to be even more abundant than anything that we saw in person, right? In person, you'll hear things and be like, I ain't trying to hear that. I can see you and da-da-da. On the internet, people get in front of that Sony A7, they get in front of that camera and say anything, and it sounds like it must be the truth because they're in 4K.
Man.
It's so much more difficult sometimes to decipher, like, is this great advice? Is this bad advice until you actually live it? But I'm curious, from your POV, man, what has been some of the best advice, worst advice? You do it in whatever order that you like.
I'm going to start with the worst. Because this one, when Avadon was up, I was, kind of thinking of my answer because, I didn't want to waste any time. But this one, some may agree with, some may disagree with it. But in my opinion, some of the worst advice I've gotten is from people. They've said that when it comes to success in general, it's important, like not even important, imperative to have a set plan, like a plan set in stone. And I honestly disagree with that.
Okay, why is that?
To a certain extent, I believe planning is a good thing because it gives you something to look forward to. It gives you something to fall back on,
right?
Should you, go astray. But I feel like if you were to be led astray in whatever, like, life comes up, something comes up, and you're not moving as fast as you want to, I feel like that's a part of the process. And I feel like you should embrace that, if things don't go according to that set plan,
Yeah, I think a lot of people do set that now and feel like when they get some advice, I've been the same way too, where I'll get some advice that sounds so different, so new, so fresh that you'll allow it to be your laws, and it's like you're not allowing life to life.
Exactly.
Life has so many variables. Like you if you're looking at the list and not looking at the road in front of you, you miss an opportunity.
And I've fallen victim to that. Like for the past, if I'm being honest, for the past 2 years, I've been trying to like plan stuff out, overthink this, overthink that. Like it's like I'm really getting to a point where I'm like, just let it be, bro. Your story is unique, you know. And what you come up with in your head, the mind is a powerful tool. What you come up with in your head, for better or for worse, could be entirely different than what you're actually living through. So you could have in your mind where you want to be, and then life's like, nah, we're not there yet.
Yeah.
And you have to embrace that. What are you gonna do about that?
Yeah.
What you're gonna stare at life and be like, man, no, I have this plan in my head, and throw a temper tantrum because it's not going according to plan?
That's you got wisdom beyond your years, my guy. Like it's true though. It's true because it's like that. You get into a place where you're trying to use a textbook to figure out the next step when the road wasn't even created when they wrote that text.
Man, especially in music, bro. Like, you
Right,
know how many
like-
people? You know how many people I listen to now who are staples, who were nobodies
Right.
before the pandemic.
Right. It's true.
Nobodies before 2019, before TikTok and all that stuff, like really, really peaked.
Yeah.
You know how many people were not on the map?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's why, like, we were talking about it the other day about, you were saying, you know, how important do you think it is for going to college, and how does that affect your career? And, you know, because I went for some years to get those electives and to try to get as much information as I could from it. But I think that there's a lot of people who feel like they need the structure, and they feel like the structure creates a level of security that you can't guarantee.
Yeah.
Nobody can guarantee that. And if everybody followed the same rules, I think somebody, Red Frog just said it right now, the worst advice equals absolutes. I agree with you. Always dip the EQ at 300 hertz, or always sidechain. And
sound the
look,
same. You feel me?
is the goal for us to all create, like you said, is the goal for us to all create the same art? Because whatever that quality, that standard approval of what that is, if that's never broken, how do we evolve?
Exactly. The game's not gonna move forward. Like, evolution happens when somebody is willing to think outside of the box
And break some stuff. Just shake some stuff up.
You feel me?
Have
Like,
the audacity. When everybody else is saying that's the wrong way to do it, you just do it anyways.
Man, I'm telling you, bro. I go on TikTok and I go on Instagram and I see all these, like, no disrespect to people who do this, but in my opinion, like, I see these beat videos of people like making these step-by-step tutorials of how to make this, like these templates.
Yeah.
I've seen people make templates of how to put drums in a specific genre.
I've seen those posts too. I'm like,
dude, do you make music with your ears or your eyes?
you know what I think it is, though? You know what I think it is? And this has been my theory about it, HGC. I think it's a reflection of how many hobbyists have entered the space since the pandemic.
Yes.
Right? So we
They're
look
looking
at
for
that
the
and
cookie
laugh.
cutter, bruh.
We look at that and laugh, but for folks who are hobbyists and they come in here and they're like, I don't know where to start with this here pattern block, that's the kind of post that they eat up. And they're like, oh, man, that's so helpful. I was trying to figure out how people did that. And they literally need that information like that. But they're not really in it to make music because they love making music. They just love it. You know, they love to hobby it.
Yeah, everybody comes at it from a different angle. I just get mad because I'm tired of seeing it's that, and like, I swear to God, if I see another reel teaching me how to make a yeet type beat, I swear I am going to uninstall every social media account I have.
That has got to be the most popular one this year. I've seen that at least a gajillion times.
Bro,
Making
and remember
yeet
when you made that
808s.
Remember when you made that one video about the Rage style beats, and we talked about it, and we were like, bro, Rage is legit. Because I went through that phase. I was making Rage beats, but Rage, like, I feel like the genres. I was talking to somebody in the Monty server today.
Yeah.
We were talking about music, and we were talking like about the SoundCloud era and like Sam Gellatry and all those dudes who were making crazy beats back then, right? 2015, 2016. I was like, I'm mad that sound doesn't exist like really anymore. But I'm like, people moved on.
Yeah.
The sound evolved. That's what's supposed to happen.
It's supposed to happen. It's
You
supposed
know,
to happen.
like you can get caught up in your feelings, and believe me, Thanksgiving break, I've been on YouTube searching up all those old SoundCloud beats because I was too young to even like really
absorb
experience
them.
that.
Yeah. And you got to.
I was like, when that was popping off, I was like in 3rd grade.
Oh wow, yeah. And you got a different set of ears now. Now you're able to listen with a more scientific or dissecting ear and be able to hear things and pick them up. But yeah, I'm with you, bro. Like that's when I got to remember what genre I'm in, and some of that is the culture of hip hop. Like hip hop originally started as y'all are doing this, we're going to do this, and we're going to use the things that you say that we're not supposed to use in the way we use them, and we're going to make something that you've never seen. You don't do records like that. You're not supposed to scratch a record like that. You're not supposed to, like, that is the tradition. Like, you're not supposed to be able to talk. You don't talk about politics and music. That was sort of like the evolution. Oh, you guys are not actually singing, you're talking. Like, that is the evolution that must continue. There has to be a rebellious spirit in everything that's going on in hip hop, somehow, some way, or it's not hip hop. That's how it's always been taught.
You never know when that could become the new staple.
Yeah.
You feel me? Like, you never know. Like,
but see, this is where I feel like it's people who are policing it who are not aware of that, who don't care about that, and want to edit the rules to adjust to the way that they like doing things. Yeah. And you gotta have more than just popularity to change those rules, right? But I think a lot of people are using just having a platform as, we don't do this no more. We don't do this no more. Kicks are not relevant anymore. Snares are not relevant anymore. Like, you just say anything.
Clout is a hell of a drug.
It is man. Rick James would have said that now.
Some people, bro. Some people, and I know everyone in the chat has probably seen this, but like, some people see that subscriber count and take their word as law. Yeah. When really they don't know what the hell they're talking about either.
It'd be like that.
Let's be honest.
It do be like that. Bro. Well, let's switch gears. What's some of the best advice that you have received thus far in your career?
2 pieces. One piece I think that I've been trying to take to heart, that I especially plan on taking to heart in the new year. Quantity at times is just as important, if not more important, than quality. All right. And I think that is because, especially in this day and age, we're talking about the internet age. I'm the type of dude who will spend a few days on a beat, right? I will spend a few days on a beat, tweaking it, making sure it's how I envisioned it, right? But at the same time, I upload that beat to wherever. Someone listens to it, takes it at face value. They don't care I've spent 3 days on it. They don't care I've EQ. They don't care I've EQ'd like 27 snares to, like, I'm joking.
Yeah, but I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Like, they don't care. They hear a piece of music, and in the first 15 seconds, they will be like, yo, this joint trash, or yeah, let me keep listening.
It's not that deep for them. And if it's that deep for them, they probably make beats.
But it's that deep for me. And it's like, for the past 2 years, I've been making music for other producers. I haven't been making music for people who are going to listen. Man. Other producers are probably listening to your beats to try and grab something that like catch you lacking, take something that's unique to you, and call it their own. They trying to, be on the come up. You feel me?
Now, I know you got a second one, but I want to get your perspective on this one. Smoke to the Ceiling said consistent quality is important. What's your POV on that?
I'd say that's important if it doesn't. How do I say this? Consistent quality is only as important as you can keep. How do I say this? I'm trying to figure out how I word this, because I don't want to come off as like, how about disrespectful.
Let me give you a second. Let me give you a second to formulate that thought. I got a quick opinion on it. Yeah. You have to go through quantity to get to quality. So that's what I'm looking for. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? This once again, I think that is a construct. I think that is a subjective statement of what is quality when everybody interprets it a different way. Somebody listens to one of what you think are one of your worst beats, and they actually love it the most because of its simplistic nature. I don't think that you can guarantee quality. Matter of fact, they did a study one time in a college course where a teacher split the class in two. It was like 30 people in a room, and it was a photography class. And he basically had one group who it was their goal to take as many pictures as possible to get to the money shot. And then the other group only could take one photo and bring it back to the class for the final grade. And they put the pictures up next to each other and had random people who basically judge which photos were better. Or they had the professor who judged which ones are better. Every single time, the photos on the side where the people took more photos, aka had quantity, they love those photos more. Because what happens when you have quantity, you have the freedom of having moments where you're not perfect. You have the freedom to try things that you would normally not try in the name of quality, which I feel like will hold you back if you're thinking about quality means my best work that I've done on a consistent basis, where you're not even in your best headspace every single day.
Because you're pressured.
You're pressured, and you're creating that pressure for yourself. So as beautiful as that, as I think that idea is, consistent quality, I think that's what we all want to achieve. But I think that at some point we got to come to some kind of a conclusion that it's not even we have to come. They've done studies on it. I remember Steven Kotler came on here and said it. He said the people who are the highest achievers have a prolific output, a prolific amount of work that they've done in pursuit of creating their masterpieces, their quality. And it's the same across the board for every human being. It's going to take quantity for you to get to quality. And quantity can mean quantity of beats, quantity of chord progressions, quantity, whatever it is, but you need quantity to get to that quality. So
man.
It's important.
And it's just that if I had to think of it's a little early, but if I had to think of a New Year's resolution 2023, man, I almost need to stop taking what I'm doing as seriously as I've been taking it.
What do you mean?
And what I mean by that is to the point where everything has to be perfect. Because I'm a perfectionist. I'm a perfectionist.
Yeah, I know.
But everything has to be like, this beat has to be fired. This chord progression has to be pristine. My video edits can't be rough or raw or whatever. Like,
right.
I've been spending all this time perfecting something when I could have been uploading, and sharing the process over the past 2 years.
Man.
Growing in those 2 years. Like, in a way, I don't want to say the 2 years was lost, but I feel like I could have made better choices with how I spent that 2 years,
And there was a point in time in life where that wasn't rewarded the way that it is rewarded today, where you had to always put your best foot forward. That was the mantra. We're living in a time now that not only can you show your rough drafts, people are more interested in that than the polished up end result. They want to see how you got to that song. They want to. That's why I like when we do these beat videos, we're literally showing them what does it look like when you make this music that I've fallen in love with.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's literally a fun, dude. I don't have a tripod yet, right?
Yeah.
So for recording, like my first few videos, I took like a pile of shoeboxes.
Yeah.
A stack of Wii games. Put a shoe on top of the stack of Wii games.
Yeah.
And then like angled my phone. And it's a clean shot. It's a good shot. But you would never guess that's how I got there.
But see, you know what would be so dope? And I hope you've done this if you're still doing this. Take a photo of your phone, whatever other camera you have, take a photo of that setup. Like that's one thing, HTC,
Yes.
I wish I would have did that. Like when I think about my first studio setup that was on grandma's patio, I got one photo shoot that I did on that. And I've been recycling them photos for the last, I don't know how many years, right? Because I really wish I would have took more photos. But in the moment, I was like, this ain't like, who do I think I am? This ain't that. There's nothing impressive about this. It's actually embarrassing to a certain degree. And it's not that. If anything, that is the faith that you had that you were going to be successful at what you pursued. So I feel like no matter what you have, no matter what equipment you have, no matter what equipment you don't have, capture it. Because somebody's going to look at those grainy videos one day and be like, man, it's getting me so hyped up. Because, like, man, I see myself in those grainy. It's possible. Once again, it's possible. It's possible. It's possible.
I get you. Because it's like, when I start doing these videos, like, I've got the planning, but no action for me, but like, I've got this plan. Like, I know how I'm going to record them. I know how I'm going to edit them. I need to actually do it. I need to actually do it, like, but with those videos, I'm going to be shooting them in the same spot. So, like, over time, you will see.
Run it up.
Like, you feel me? You'll have the setup.
HGC, run it up. It's time, bro. I'm excited for you. I'm hyped for you because I've been following your journey for quite some time. You've been part of multiple communities. You've helped me set up multiple Discords, and so I'm always pulling for you. But I tell you this is something I always think about at pretty much every stage of my life. I think about the old version of me that no longer has the ability to do what I do at the rate and the speed at which I'm doing it at. I think about the old version of me, and I think about when he's sitting around thinking about all the things that I didn't do in the name of trying to be perfect, in the name of, whatever it is that makes me want to, like, stay with what I'm doing and try to be perfect and make it the best thing I've ever done. I wonder how much of my life I am not sharing, my music life I'm not sharing, and how many opportunities I have to help people and how many more people I could have helped if I did not share these moments. Some of the most impactful videos that I hear from people who say, man, I love your videos. It's almost never the videos that I took all this time to edit. It's usually the ones like one of my highest viewed videos right now is how to count 16 bars. It was on an iPhone 5, iPhone 6. That got 1 million or whatever. But I'm teaching people how to count 16. That was what made
the info is there. That's the value.
There. Like, but the quality is out. But that ended up being the reason why I was even like able to connect with Long Beach Griffey. Like it's so many folks that you don't know who's going to reach that content or reach what you're doing in the moment that may not necessarily be the best quality that you think you can put out, but you got to put it out because so much valuable time, so much inspiring things so much inspiring content you could do right now, you won't be able to do it in much the same way because you won't be this age ever again.
Oh, that's facts.
So,
that's facts.
Man, get it out there, bro.
Yeah, bro. And it's really, I'm getting over it. The more I think about it, it's really been an underlying fear of like, what are other people going to think of me? What are other people going to think about music? But like, that's hardly relevant if you're enjoying the process,
What a more important question is, what are you going to think about yourself if you didn't live your truth? Because I'll tell you this, I got love for every single person in this room. Very small percentage you will probably be at my funeral. And not even because you don't like me because of what you just won't be there because of semantics or because of because of where you live at or because it's a private event. I understand that. That doesn't mean that you're not worth me giving and pouring into, because I am not what I do. I am how I do it. And people will remember the fact that I'm here and I show up no matter how I feel. I got neck pains right now, all kind of stuff from that late 5-hour session that we did on live stream last night. I don't have to be here, but I am here, and I'm making sure that not only am I able to give value, but y'all are able to step up on this platform and give some of the knowledge that you have so that folks cannot go through the same things that some of you have endured. Some of you've already said something. HEC, you said a few things today that I know is going to help somebody who, when they hear it, they're going to be like, no, I heard HEC say that advice before. Somebody's giving that advice and it didn't serve them. So, yeah. So last thing I got for you, HEC, and we're going to talk to a few more people and then we're going to bounce out of here. But what advice do you have for people who are getting ready to get around family? And some people are very happy and excited and support their music career. Some people are getting ready to they're getting ready to go crazy. They're getting ready to say some things they can't take back. That's going to really sting some people. What advice do you give to them to kind of like just stay cool?
I don't know if this is someone's already said this, but if not, I'm gonna reinforce it.
Okay.
They are not in your shoes.
Mm-hmm.
They are not. These are people who you see. I don't know people's situations, but there's a chance that these are people who you see once a year.
Mm.
And in that one time frame, they feel like that their best use of their time is criticizing someone else going after their dreams. And if that's how they value you, if that's how they're taking you at face value, that shows how significant they should be to you. If that's the only thing, that's how I see it anyways. If that's the first thing on their mind, like this is family we're talking about. And if that's the first thing that's on their mind, like to tear you down, to discourage you while you're actually trying to do something, like to me, it would hurt. It would be painful, like no one likes to be shot down of an idea or anything, but you have to. I always think find the best revenge. I think J. Cole said this one. The best revenge comes from success.
Yes. Yeah, and success that you can. I feel like to add on to that, success you can stand on, and you didn't have to do nobody dirty to get it.
Facts.
Because I always think about folks who they run scams or they do all these crazy things to become. You see it right now in the crypto space. You see how people are mad about this. I didn't know nothing about it until I didn't know because I follow. I think it's called Meta something, but I follow this
Metaverse.
Account. Is it Metaverse? Because I've been getting them mixed up with Meta, but Metaverse. I follow Metaverse on Instagram, and I'm seeing all of this. I'm like, yo, this dude like bought the Miami
scam.
The FTX scam. Boy, he set up here and bought the Miami Heat state. What are you? And so I'm seeing him in the Bahamas right now. I'm like, yo, but.
That boy playing GTA IRL. I swear,
in real life,
that boy playing GTA.
But not to get too much off a topic, but I look at that and I'm like,
it's crazy.
We're just living in a different time, and folks don't know, man. They don't know, and they're operating from a place that they could never be you. They could never go back. The last time they were your age, none of the stuff that exists right now existed. At least in the social media space.
They don't get how I'm thinking. Like you can't, because you didn't have to live through that. You feel me? Like you didn't have to live through that.
If you had success, and even in the 90s, you cannot equate the same standards of success to 2022.
No chance.
When if it's just about income, well, people are making money in many different ways now that they didn't make money before. So we might have to evolve that the same way that we evolve the rest of life in general. So, man, I always appreciate being able to talk to you, bro. Thank you so much for sharing these gems, man. HGC, ladies and gentlemen. HGC.
Appreciate the opportunity, man.
Man, of course. Happy holidays, my friend.
Yeah, to all y'all, man. Hey, much love to everybody in the chat. Much love to you especially, bro. Appreciate you so much. Nothing but love, bro.
Always, bro. Appreciate you. All right, I'll talk to you soon.
Peace, man.
Peace. See what it is, HGC. So, yeah. And it's interesting. I know this is going to be a controversial figure that some people just don't like and don't want to hear about. But I think sometimes you can't shoot the messenger, especially when the message is as potent as it is. Jordan Peterson says something that it really resonated with me, in that it's almost dehumanizing sometimes for us to put our loved ones, and that includes sometimes our parents, on this pedestal where we treat their words like God's word, right? We treat their words like it's without error. They're on a pedestal. What they say goes, and nothing else can be the truth. Of course, we want to respect our parents and our loved ones. Of course, we want to love them. Of course, we want to make sure that we have the utmost respect because they brought us into this world. But it's dehumanizing to a certain degree to not give the grace and the space for them to be human beings. The loved ones that you have in your life are women and men that make mistakes. He gave an example. He was like, do you care about the opinion that your parents' friends have about you? He's asking the classroom, and they say, no, we don't care about that. And he says, exactly. He says, what is the difference between their friends and your parents? They're friends. Like, they're strangers, but they're other human beings that share different ideologies, different ways of thinking, different ways of viewing the world. And the lens a lot of times that loved ones view it from, especially when they're older, by design, by foundation, is going to be significantly different because of the world they were brought up in and the world that you're currently living in. So it's important to do your best not to internalize some of the criticisms that you're going to be getting. Remember, I had that. I had a family member told me, he was like, "You still doing that music thing?" And I'm like, "Fam, I'm literally supporting my music with this with this music thing." I just get to the point where I don't even bring it up. I just like, it's, you know, it just, you know what I'm saying? It's just a thing where it's just like, you know, all right, whatever. Like, all right, cool. Yeah, like, I go to that Brad Leia thing where he's like, absolutely, I'm still doing it. So what else is new? I'm just nothing. I'm just saying, like, I wouldn't expect that somebody as intelligent as you would want to be in the music industry. Everybody's dying. Different ecosystem. What else is new with you, though? I just love that. It's so brilliant. So brilliant. Matt B. I had no idea Curtis listens to JP. He gives great advice. Yes, he does. Here's the thing about it. I don't care who the advice comes from. I'm able to separate the person from the words, because I think that as a believer, I feel that sometimes a message is delivered through people that don't necessarily look like you, that don't have the same ideologies as you. And a lot of times we miss out on it, especially now because of cancel culture. That's why I don't like cancel culture. I think cancel culture is teaching people good things and bad things. The bad things that I take from it is that it's teaching people that people are disposable, and that when they don't agree with you, they should apologize their way into agreeing with you, that they should assimilate, and they should not have thoughts of their own or views of their own. And if they do, and they're offensive to you, you should rid them of a job. You should rid them of their social media platforms. And I just feel like all of us have been given grace for something similar to the very thing we're criticizing. When you really look at the things that people say that are hateful, right? You may not have ever said the hateful words this person said, the exact hateful words, but have you ever said something that hurt someone's feelings? Have you? You're guilty of the same sin. People don't want to hear that. I didn't want to hear that. The truth of the matter is, when you really dice it down to what it actually is, right? You have violated someone's viewpoint. And it's so ironic that cancel culture is literally a mob energy of trying to control somebody else's way of looking at life. I think what you say is offensive. You shouldn't see the world like that. Apologize. You know what? Where they work at? Let's get them fired. That doesn't change people. That don't change nobody. That just makes them want to be more quiet about their hate. You want to change somebody, you be an example, and you react in a way that they didn't expect. You don't give them the same satisfaction that they get from having these volatile opinions. And so I don't look at somebody like a Jordan Peterson. I've never been offended by what he says. I don't agree with everything he says. I just let it be. But when I hear something and I'm able to get that, I'm not here to judge who it's coming from. But I am one to say, all right, I see where it lines at. Curtis said, where they work at? Let's get them fired. That's what they do. That's what they do in this time now. Hey, y'all, I found they at. Let's get them fired. It's crazy. Like, you ain't got to worry about Big Brother no more. Like, people have become the new Big Brother. People have become the new police. Thought police, comment police, opinion police. You don't need censorship no more. People do it to each other. I got some time to talk to a few more people. If you want to join me, I got that Zoom link right here. I just put it up here again. Talk to us. Come in here into the Zoom and tell me some of the best or the worst advice. And let's end it out from there. A man's thoughts cause him to lose all tigers and fortune. What do you mean by that, Cook Up? I'm assuming that's a quote. A lot of people will use you as a guinea pig. They have their own dreams and don't think they can do it and see you doing it. And some won't jump on their goals until they see it being worth. I think a lot of people, too, act a certain way with you because they're looking for different tools to react to other people who do what they're doing to you. Certain people are nasty and they're vile to you on the internet, especially now around this time. I don't know how many of you have done content creation. How many of you are currently doing content creation for years? This time of the year, you see the nastiest comments. It's an uptick. All throughout the year, depending on your content, you may see it on a consistent basis, you may not. But there's an uptick across the board, and I talk to my friends who are content creators of different walks of life. There's an uptick in it right now. My theory is that there's a lot of people who are now reflecting upon a year that is getting ready to come to a close. It's getting close to the holiday season where unfortunately, a lot of suicides go up, where a lot of people start to drink a little bit more and just get into a place where they're just internalizing and thinking about all the things that are voids, thinking about all the things that are going bad right now. Lots of crazy drivers too. No, it's true. It's true. And a lot of people don't have a place to spew that kind of energy too. A lot of people don't have that energy you don't have a place to spew it to. So where's a place where I can say something to you and I won't get fired because I can be anonymous? The internet. So I'll come to you and find something so specific to you that I think would hurt your feelings and say it in a way that I am sure you'll remember it. Why? Because somebody has done that to them. And when they go to work, they can't be the boss. They can't talk the way they talk to you to their boss because they wouldn't have a job. So all day long, they're being told what to do. Maybe they even live with people who are roommates who telling them what to do. Then they come see you up here succeeding, the audacity, up here doing well in life, and they project all of that energy on you. And they get to say whatever they want to say and just disappear. Hurt people, absolutely. They get to just project that and disappear. And when you give them energy, that's the same warmth of a hug for them. Trippy. Had a psychologist tell me. It's the same warmth of a hug when you respond back to a troll, when you respond back to that energy. They're missing family around this time of the year. They're missing goals they wanted to achieve that you're probably achieving. This is the time of the year they can say the worst thing that's been on their mind the entire year, and they can get a reaction from you. Why? Because they're hoping that you're in a similar space. So when you do respond back to them, it's a warm hug. Even if it's the most vile thing that you can think of to respond to them, the most smart ass thing, it's a hug. And that's just kind of where I stand with it. Keyboard warriors are waiting for a fight. Don't give them none. Nah. That's why I really don't go back and forth, back to Twitter, but I want to post my beats. I really don't like those people who come to spaces just to hate, to be negative. Like, why are you here? You see it constantly. You don't. Most people would be surprised how I talk to my bosses. I straight tell them, you are John to me. You are not my boss. Well, Noah Lewis, you're not my superior. We're all equal. They almost always get it. I salute you. I'm glad that you have that kind of flexibility and that freedom. And I'm sure we all have the freedom to make that decision. I just don't know how many folks out here would have a job after doing that. just keeping it a whole stack. I don't know how many people would actually have a job doing that after. But I get your sentiment. And I think that we have to inside be able to establish, although this person is someone that is my superior in this environment, they are somebody I must answer to because I have a job to do. And how I do one thing is how I do everything. They don't have rule over my life. So, all right, we got somebody in here named Reeves that is coming in here, and let's see what Reeves has to say about this topic. Oh, that's weird. Reeves.
Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
How you doing?
I'm good, Kurt. How you doing, Mr. King?
I can't call it, man. I can't call it. We're in here talking about the best advice or the best advice and the worst advice that you've ever received within your music career. You got something for us?
Yeah, I actually do, but it's connected to more than just music, and it's actually something that I got from watching you.
Okay.
I know you were just talking about mental health a little bit.
Yeah.
And earlier this year, I actually had a complete mental breakdown myself, where a lot of things got really scary for me. And luckily, I don't know what it was. It was something, I guess, that one of your videos was talking about better help. And I reached out to them before my breakdown just because of the video that you put out there, and you were the first content creator to actually mention anything at all about mental health. Mm-hmm. So it was something that more so in this music thing that we're doing, we spend a lot of time locked in rooms by ourselves, focusing on our craft, and we hardly ever really take time to step back and, take a mental assessment of ourselves.
Right.
And figure out, make sure that we're okay.
Absolutely.
With family coming over during the holidays now, a lot of that pressure coming in, a lot of questioning, or what you doing with your life.
Yes, that's a common one.
Chasing something. And it's a lot more pressure than people really understand when we're artists, creatives, trying to create businesses or just create something that we can be proud of. And like you said, stand on. Mm-hmm. For me, it's generational wealth. But I want to build it my own way. So it's definitely, but it's hard to figure out when you're stuck in your own head. And it's just a good thing, like you said in that video, to take a step back, take a breath, do a mental assessment, make sure that you're okay, because not everybody's going to check in on you.
Yeah. Oh,
so
man.
You have to take the time to check in with yourself.
Right. And I appreciate you being so transparent about something that I think a lot of folks in here can relate to. And I think that's what gravitates all of us to the kind of content that we see eye to eye on and we talk about. But I appreciate you being transparent about that, because I think it helps a lot of people who are questioning what's happening to them right now, and they may be in the midst of that. I guess my first question for you is, first of all, how are you doing now?
Now I'm doing a lot better.
Okay.
There was moments since then that I had to really take a lot more steps back, and it took a hard hit for me creatively. Making beats and stuff was hard for a while, but I figured with that, after my breakdown, it was the last thing that was kind of on my mind to reach my goal, which is to be one of the best engineers, period. So now I'm doing a lot better. I've started taking a lot more self care,
Mm-hmm.
talking to my wife more, being more open about feelings, and a lot of things that just me being a man is it was hard for me first to be open about feelings.
Yeah.
Now after that, I'm always expressing myself because of what happened.
Mm.
So I'm doing a lot better. I appreciate you asking.
Man, I ask because I understand from my own perspective. Everybody has a different breakdown, different breakdowns. What I'm basically saying, everybody has a different one. I'm no therapist, but I've talked to many, and it there's something really freeing about getting clarity on what that moment actually was. Because when we're trying to diagnose it ourselves, it's like everything is going bad, right? We think we got heart issues. We think we got it just felt like everything is crumbling down and everything and whatever's I know how my brain works. When it happens, it's the worst case scenario for every category. This means that I'll never work on music again. This means that so for someone out there who may not necessarily be ready for therapy, you mentioned a few times about taking a step back. What would you say that looks like for you? Like, what is taking a step back and to assess the situation so that you can make some different decisions moving forward to avoid that?
So for me, taking a step back, because I'm just like how you describe. First, I start with the worst case scenarios of things
Mm-hmm.
and looking for lines that connect. And before you know it, you get caught in this either downward spiral or you bounce up and then you think you're the hottest in town.
Mm-hmm.
So taking that step back to say, okay, I know I'm getting better with my craft, but am I feeding into myself too much? Because there's certain things. Sometimes I was really feeling myself right before my breakdown, and come to find out that it was part of a symptom of, it's part of basically having a manic episode where you're so hyped and you feel like you're full of like this positive energy,
Right.
and you think that you're doing good. Even then, I would say for people to take a step back, which is to, just take an overall assessment of where you are.
Mm-hmm.
Are you say that you're good? Put some of your work out there and get some actual feedback from somebody that you respect.
Yeah.
And then if it hits you hard, then it kind of able to bring you down, but you respect that person. But if you're on a downward spiral, still taking a step back and saying, okay, let me go listen to some of my old stuff. Take a step back from actually creating, listen to some of my old stuff, and then listen to what I'm currently working on, and then meditate on it.
Yeah.
Don't immediately jump right back into creating again and trying to get that next experience, because for real passionate creatives, it doesn't always come in 5-10 minutes, 30 minutes to an hour. Sometimes it takes weeks, months, years to compose something that, if you're truly passionate about your craft, like, it's never done.
Yeah.
So taking that step back to say, okay, I feel a little weird right now. Like I'm a little bit more angst than I usually am, or I'm way more happy about my stuff right now. Let me take a step back and get somebody to tell me that this shit's hot. Excuse my language.
Right. No, you're good, man. We haven't real. You said so much of from a place of vulnerability that I wouldn't want to filter how this comes out. It's too real. So I appreciate it, but bro, you say how you see fit.
Okay. Well, yeah. So taking a step back personally is just removing yourself from whatever may be that driving pressure, because we're gonna feel it regardless. We all want to be great. We all want that our moment in the sunshine, but it takes that work. But with that work, you have to take that time to step back from it and say, okay, let me meditate on this for a bit. Let me see. Let me let some of the lessons that I've been getting seep in, and focus on some other things just for a little bit. And then you get back into it, or you go back into yourself and you say, all right, I'm gonna focus on making sure I'm controlling my weight, eating healthier. Different things that you can focus on when you're having those moments where you're feeling too much pressure. Look for a small win somewhere else,
Yeah, that's a
or
huge
something that can boost you up, or if you need something that, for me, because I was having a manic episode,
right.
it's something that I needed someone to kind of bring me down gently and like, oh, you're doing good, but I think you're having a moment right now because you still got some things you got to work on. So talk to me, what's going on?
Man, I gotta say, I believe that you're helping a lot of people, especially in a vulnerable time of the year where many people can find themselves looping around conversations that sound very similar to what you are kind of describing or where you were at. Let me ask you this, and it's a very unique question. I promise it's not going to be too personal about it, but specifically to you, what do you feel like was maybe some bad advice you got externally or maybe even internally that might have possibly even contributed to where things ultimately went?
When so it's funny, when I first got into producing, the second time around, I got caught in the hype of all of the Instagram producers and hey, well, buy this drum kit, or I can give you tips to make you sound real good, and you see these people and they throw their credits out there, and because I'm brand new, I'm thinking, oh, this is my meal ticket.
Yeah.
I feel like I already got it, and just knowing that it's a business for these people. I didn't know that at the time, so I would say the bad advice that I got really is expecting everybody to have the same passion for the creative mind that I did. Some of these people is just a business.
Yeah.
So that started getting basically things from other people, buying little one-on-one sessions that didn't go anywhere, telling you things like, oh, well, if you got to tune this right and tune that right. I can figure that part out on my own. Teach me, how you got to your craft.
Right.
That they never would tell you, all right, this is the type of things that you need to work on. They don't spend that time. I guess that's what it was. They didn't spend the actual time for the money you were spending. They didn't have the respect, or not even the respect. I guess they were running their business.
And that's something I wanted to ask you about too, specifically because on this channel, I have found many different ways to kind of call out that behavior when we see it, because we see it through a lot of ads that pop up, and we can tell when somebody kind of is giving us a one-size-fits-all pitch about how to be successful, and they're not taking into consideration all the variables that go into everyone's success, even their own success, all the different things, that even the moments of luck are not optional. Moments of luck need to happen in everyone's journey. We've all been lucky at some point in time where it's like, man, I don't know where I would have been had it not been for meeting this person, or had it not been for these circumstances going the way that they did. And that being said, you see them, and I'm like, that's why I did like the Sus Bunny characters, because it was like, if you see it through comedy, sometimes that can help you see it in real life and be like, there's a lot of truth in what's being said. Why do you think it is that they're not able, in your opinion, to service you the way that you needed? Like, what do you think was going on, in your opinion, with them?
Honestly, it's a weird mindset to have. Getting older, you start. I'm 34, about to be 35, and I'll say, realizing that these people that are getting these credits, they still just as hungry as they used to be. So it's still competition for them. So they can get you in their camp, under their wing, to put in work, whatever the case is, before you become a threat.
Yeah.
Oh,
You said a whole word right there. I don't maybe that's why you stopped for a second. You said a whole word
Yeah.
right there. Woo,
I
woo.
stopped for it's still, if they can get you in that camp before
Yeah.
you become a threat to them,
Mhm.
then you're no longer a threat. You're a tool at their disposal. Once they've used you up, tools get broken.
Yeah, and as manipulative, as bad as this is going to sound, from their POV, what better time to do it than when you're younger?
When you're a rookie.
When you're a rookie, when you don't know no better, when you're wide-eyed, you're wet behind the ears, what better time to take advantage of that? Because when you know
They
better,
get their hook in.
yeah, you'll sign contracts that you haven't looked over or can't afford a lawyer to look over. It's an age-old system, and I feel like a lot of times you get producers who do it, you get artists who do it when they sign other artists, and it's not necessarily a thought of their making. It's what they had done to them and what they've normalized as okay behavior. And they do it.
Very true.
You know what I mean? And I'm not trying to let them off the hook. I think that at some point you have to do what you did, which is take a step back, reassess the situation. But I think a lot of them are trying to be versions of the people they signed to that did them supremely dirty, and they want to be able to have their chance in the sun to do that with people who don't know any better. And unfortunately, that's where a lot of people find themselves on the internet, selling people pipe dreams and selling them things that are not actually attainable. That's why with my content, I've always tried to make sure, like, anything that I say that I believe that you can do, I've done it. And if I've done it, going through, and I haven't even talked about a percentage of the things that I've gone through in this industry. I made sure this channel wasn't about anybody else or anybody. Like, I don't do like celebrity gossip or nothing like that. But if I told you just a percentage of the things, I was talking to an artist I was working with last night about some of the stuff that I endured to get to this point. I am a living miracle for the people who know, who have seen it firsthand when I was out here and about in these streets trying to find my way within this industry. And me being able to redefine and find another space here, it's something that they didn't anticipate. And I would say the same thing for you, in that even those situations in which you paid those one-on-ones and it felt like you didn't really get the information that you wanted to get, I would argue.
Well, I would say I did get something.
You got something. Okay, no, you're good. You're good. Yeah, you're good.
The reason why I say I got something is because even in those what may seem like kind of a waste of money, it's a fine line that you play, because I personally, I know that I'm gonna have to spend money sometimes and make some decisions, make some investments that may not work out. So I always looked at it as a business thing, and I guess that
was exactly what I was gonna say.
What I would stress. I guess that's what I would stress for anybody as a creative, to remember, some people are just business people that happen to make good music too.
One more time with that one.
One more time?
Yeah, one more time.
Some people are just good people. I mean, good business people that just make good music too. Just so happen to make good music too. Yeah. But they're business people. They're business people first.
Yeah, that's such a gem. Because there's a lot of folks that it's amazing to see how many people, because they're ultra fans of the music, how much that gives them a level of I trust this person. And with that trust comes, I trust you on all pieces of advice that you give because of how great at music you are. And you can't operate that way, because you'll end up being part
You'll end up broke.
You'll end up being part of a crypto scam. You'll end up being in a divorce. You'll end up being, your whole life will be, and you know what they get to do? They get to say, well, I mean, I didn't say to do that exactly. What did you do wrong? Oh yeah, that was your fault. And this,
Yep, they look at the one little thing, man. You didn't put yourself out there enough.
See,
I told you spend another
I told you that,
10,000 to
but-
go on this trip.
but
Nah, bro.
but you know
You're
what?
supposed to give me the gym.
But you know what though? You know how I have to take this in order for me not to be in a place where I get to that dark place. I look at that and I say, you know what? I don't agree with the way you did it. But you know what? There is a truth in that. And because I now know better, I'm going to do better. And if I go back down that same road again, there won't be any confusion about who to blame next. You went back down there again.
You went back around the corner and did what?
You went back to that haunted house.
You remember what happened back in the day? I told you not to go around that corner.
I told you not to go down that corner.
Okay.
You win.
Wait till you get home. That's what happens now.
That and I, you know, one of my favorite holiday movies is A Christmas Story. I'm not gonna get you that gun because you're gonna shoot your eye out. And then what'd he do?
Oh.
He went and shot his eye out. Icicle hit his eye. So I think some people are they're hard headed, and I have been hard headed. I know for a fact I've been hard headed. And if it wasn't for actually experiencing the pain, I wouldn't remember why I shouldn't do it again. The pain is going. It's like touching fire when you're a kid. Oh, I know not to touch that because when I look at fire, I can almost feel the sensation in my fingers.
Mm-hmm. You feel like heat when you get close to it.
Somebody,
everybody has to have some kind of experience.
Yeah.
I'm just counting my blessings that my experiences like that were early in my career, where it was just me spending money and not signing any kind of contract where all of my creative rights have been robbed from me.
Yeah.
Because I'm passionate about it. It's different for me. If it was just a job for me, then yeah, you take that. You take that opportunity. You make your business moves. But I'm doing things now like school because I need to have those credentials for the business side of things so I can enjoy the creative. But it's not prime. I'm looking for something that'll sustain me just to be creative. Other people may just need a job.
Yeah.
So it's on how they operate.
Man, I got to give you a round of applause in here real quick because being able to talk to man, Reeves, being able to talk to you and for us to have not been able to meet, to be strangers, and for you to be so transparent, I can't even imagine the ripple effect of some folks that are listening right now that are either going through what you went through or have somebody in their family that is going through, and now they have some tools based upon what you shared today that can help them along that journey. And through that vulnerability, I feel like it's the biggest superpower we have, especially in hip hop, because hip hop vulnerability is not always celebrated. And so, and you doing that,
I make myself available to anyone that needs to talk about anything. This isn't like shot to like try to get followers. So I'll say if somebody want to look me up on Discord, I'll get back in the chat. Y'all can drop I can drop my Discord name to anybody.
Feel free. No, you got go ahead and do that. We'll make sure it gets approved.
I appreciate you. And other than that, you've been an inspiration since I've known about you. I'm not gonna cap him like I've been a fan since day one, because honestly, I found out about you when I started producing.
Okay.
But since then, your content has been consistently powerful, entertaining. Sir Sus Bunny, I bow. So
thank you, man.
I appreciate the things that you do, and I was gonna make a joke the other night because I'm the foot guy when I was like, you gotta love them toes. Anyway,
and you know anything I say, especially when I get in them goofy modes, man, it ain't nothing to be taken serious. It's just
not at all.
It's what I look at it as, and I'm seeing it now. Like, as much as the comedy of these live streams are part of the show, there's no material sometimes unless folks add something to the mix. So sometimes even trolls will create the best content that happens are the most entertaining. So I embrace it all and recognize that you can't have the good without the bad. You can't have it. But man, I appreciate you so much, and I look forward to talking with you again on here. All right. Did I lose you? You still there? Uh-oh, I think I might have lost you. Hello? Uh-oh. No worries, no worries. You there? Are you there? Uh-oh. Yeah, I think you might have got on. All good. Reeves, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Let's get one more person, and then we're going to jump into the end of this conversation. Jalen, you there? It's been a good conversation. I'm glad that folks are being very transparent about their journeys. I'm gonna give a little second for Jalen to.
Hello.
Yeah, Jalen, what's going on with you?
How you doing, Mr. King?
Doing well. How are you?
Doing straight. Glad to hear.
Good. So we're talking about the best and the worst advice that we've ever received in our music career. You got something that you want to add to that conversation?
Yes, I do. And I want to say thank you for having this opportunity for me to talk to you. It's kind of a blessing in disguise, really, because I have been following your content, your advice, and your work that you've been doing for the community and everything. So I'm just glad to hear from you and talk to you, kind of connect.
Yeah. This I wanted to leave this as an opportunity to make that connection, because there's a lot of folks that I only know by avatars, and I've never heard their voice, and that's just I'm such a personable people person, man. I like to be able to hear the voice behind it, so that when I read the comments, I hear it in your voice. I hear it in your voice. You know what I mean? So I appreciate you taking advantage of it, and look forward to hearing your thoughts on this, man. So first of all, what is it that you do? Are you an artist? Are you a producer?
I am beat maker, and I'm going to say beat maker, because producer, I will not give myself that title yet until I've done more and learned more to be that. So I would say beat maker, somewhat audio engineer, because I do works with that as well. Mm-hmm. So just those two.
Okay. And what has been the best and the worst advice that you feel like you've received so far in your music career?
Well, what I'm about to say, it's good and bad in a sense. Okay. It's do what you know best.
Okay, expand on that.
Because that's kind of good and bad. And the reason why I say that is because when you have that one-dimensional type of skill set in certain music or genre, even just musical-wise, instrument-wise, or producing-wise,
right?
You know that's your go-to move. You already know the sounds, study that, that craft, that like the back of your hand. You can wake up, know exactly what it is, and get to work.
Yeah.
So that's why I said, do what you know best. But the only downside to that, you're one-dimensional. Because what if you have a client or someone that wants to work with you, who loves your sound and everything that you love producing and making? They say, can you add can you add country to it? A little bit of electronic or a little bit of jazz. And what if you don't know how to do that? You don't know how to add that because you're only good at doing this one thing.
Right.
So some people get afraid to kind of step out their comfort zone because they're so used to, producing what they only know because they have an audience for it. But it's never bad or wrong to try new things or learn new things. And I have to keep reminding myself that as in my journey as I am to kind of understand that. There's nothing wrong with trying to experiment with other things or trying new things or talking with people in general. You can learn something, you can adapt and, spread around. And one thing, in honesty, I remember I joined your criticism video, your live.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember me. I'm J.O.D. Production.
Okay.
That was that was an old track I made a long time ago. Because I remember I was in college and I had a professor who said, you really love being in touch with that melodic, ambient, space kind of type of sound. Try doing something different. And I know in me being immature as I was a couple years ago, I just wouldn't listen to that because it's like, do what you know best.
Right.
This is what you know best.
Stay in your lane.
Stay in
That's
your
what they
lane.
always tell us. Yeah.
Yes, and this is what I know I'm good at, so I'm gonna keep doing this, which I'm getting better and better and better. But now, what about your other skill sets? What are you good with, like cutting and editing? Are you good with just sampling? Are you good with pitching and mixing? What about those other avenues now? Then people kind of freeze up, like, oh, I didn't think about those because I was doing what I knew best, just doing these type of sounds and having people like this, and it's like, so yeah. So that's kind of my answer to that question. What is the worst and best advice? To do what you know best.
So you describe why that might have been the worst. Why do you feel like that can be to your advantage, though, to kind of stay, to do what you do best?
Because when people take a lot of time to perfect their craft and pretty much know every trick to the book, every idea or the works of even digital audio work studios, just to get full inside. Like for example, FL Studios. Say it's like using that number one DAW, and I know in and outs of everything. I know how to make it to it fits me and help other people and help clients. And this is the only one thing I know. But sadly, the problem that it might come with that is, what if this DAW has more than that? What if that dog can do more than what that one can do? What if this one can process more speed and RAM than that one? What if you can have more samples getting played through the system more than that dog? What if, and see, that would kind of be another kind of a con to that, because I know how to use this to help me and benefit others the most. This is all I would like to use because I perfected it. I studied it. I worked on this nonstop. I put so many hours in this. I craft myself into this. This is what I believe in. This is what I want to know. This is what I want to do. But then what if you run into a problem where you don't have that? What if something goes wrong? What if, it shuts down, or you lost all your progress and you lose all your stems, your tracks, and you lost all your beats? Now what? Oh, here's a friend. You can use Ableton. You can use Reason.
And you
can
don't
use Logic.
And you put yourself
like,
in that box.
I don't know how to use none of this.
Yeah.
So it's either lack of knowledge or lack of trust. I don't trust this. I don't like how they make you sample how it does this. I don't like its setup and everything. I want FL. It's like, you got to adapt.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. So I'll digress on that.
I love that, man. Salute to you, Jay. Jalen, I appreciate you coming here and giving that advice. I just want to say happy holidays to you, and thank you so much for rocking with the channel as long as you have. Just grateful to have you part of this community, fam.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Mr. King. And thank you for letting me allow him to speak to your audience. And I do tell everybody happy holidays and keep progressing, keep grinding. Everybody should keep staying focused and be 100% all the time.
Let's go. Let's go. It's that time. All right, my friend. You have a good one. I'll talk to you soon, all right?
Thank you. You too.
All right, now. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, Jalen, I gotta make sure I get that round of applause real quick. All right, so I think it's a good place to end it. All right, I feel like Jerry Springer. I got to give some final thoughts. I feel like Jerry Springer. Got to give some final thoughts. All in all, I wanted to do today's episode because I feel like we teach so many people about where to go next by being transparent about where we went and it didn't go correctly or it didn't go right. And so by other people hearing your perspectives, I don't think some of you understand how much of a ripple effect that has, regardless of how many people are in here. You just never know when something just clicks for somebody. What I'm learning is sometimes some of the best advice that we received, it wasn't something that was so unique and so novel, right? It was something that was said in a certain way at a certain time, and you were in a certain headspace, in a certain level of reception that was able to see it from a different way, experience it from a different perspective, and then you were ready, right? You've probably been told the same thing in 40 different ways in the last 5 years, but because this person used this tone at the time, maybe you were tired or maybe you were super hyped and excited, it was those elements that really change your perspective. And we don't have control over that. All we can hope for is that we're constantly in front of productive information or lessons and things that we can learn from it. But I'm also hoping that in listening to the stuff that you heard today, that it just shows you how much stuff we all are attempting to unlearn as we navigate our way through this independent space, how much we're having to unlearn. And this is what I spend my Decembers doing. I'm going to be posting probably 3 times a day on my shorts. And I thank everybody for being here, by the way, so y'all get a round of applause as well. Appreciate you, Sleepy Montana. That's what I spend my Decembers doing. My Decembers are spent learning, decompressing, unlearning, and really giving thought to where I want to pivot next, and moving myself closer to my next major goal. And I need the silence. I need the space. I need that right now in my life. I need that. And that's what I get in that month. And I wish for that for anybody who has just a day they can give themselves to take that and to get away from social media. I delete my social media, all that good stuff. And really just give myself time to just be a being. So, and you're going to be given advice. And maybe some of you have seen this. The moment that you start making decisions for yourself about ways to view the world, it's almost like it's a green light for somebody to challenge you on that, even if they don't know you've changed your viewpoint. It's almost like the moment you say, I'm not going to argue with anybody, I'm going to be a very cool, collected, calm person, somebody comes along, and not just anybody, it's that somebody that knows how to push buttons in a certain way to activate that other side of you. And then that's when you really get put to the test. And a lot of times we forget that we're the ones that set that test in motion. The moment you said that you wanted to be an artist, and not just an artist, but a successful artist or a successful producer, you set that in motion. And part of that negative energy, part of that pushback is the literal force that you need to get to your destination. You're not going to get there in a boat where it just smoothly goes from one island to the other island. You're not going to get there that way. You're going to have to go through some stormy weather, some waves. You're going to have to go through some sea creatures that are moving your boat in other places. You're going to have to go through places where it feels like your boat just completely is sinking, or it fell over on its it went belly up. And then you're going to get back in that boat, get rid of that water. You're going to keep rowing and keep getting to the next island. But you need that force, because if you're not experiencing some kind of pushback, you're probably not challenging yourself enough. You're probably not establishing a goal that is scary enough for you. That's why one of my favorite books is by Grant Cardone called The 10X Rule. He talks about, more so with finance, but it's really a philosophy on life, in that if you say you want say you want to make $100,000, you're supposed to 10X that. And by 10Xing that, you exert a level of energy, a level of planning like you've never done before. And worst case scenario, if you fall short, well, you already went past that initial goal. So, yeah. So you might have got some advice today that you agree with, don't agree with, doesn't matter. I'm glad that you were exposed to it. I'm glad that you were able to express what's on your mind. I'm glad to be independent. I'm grateful to be independent because we get to experience this in real time at our time. And yeah, we don't really have to worry about the social constructs that are put on what a successful this is, especially as it pertains to the other ecosystem. Their water right now is extra sewagey. It's extra sewage. I don't get into current events and all that. I like to merely just talk to the heart of human beings. But if you're even catching a glimpse of this Balenciaga like situation, I look at them as being part of that other ecosystem. They just abide by a certain amount of rules, and they normalize certain things in the name of their art, in the name of their marketing plan, in the name of whatever they're on. They normalize that, and the people around don't bat an eye at it, and they let it fly out to the public, and it takes the public to police them. And they still don't care. They still don't care. They don't care. The same companies that used to put out T-shirts with black kids and it said the coolest monkey in the jungle had a drop in sales, and then the next month had a surge in sales when everybody forgot about the controversy. These companies don't care. In our ecosystem, we do care, and it shows in the work that we do. It shows in the way that we conduct our business. It shows by our accessibility. It shows by the way we have real conversations amongst ourselves that are not surface level because we're expecting to do this with everybody we come across. No, we have real conversations. This is why I love what we do. This is why I pour so much into it, because it is what drives me. It brings me so much life being here in a space where people are not dead, but still living. That's it. Yeah. Matt B. Kobe was my favorite player since the summer I found out Phil was going to the Lakers. That's crazy. Yeah, that was a good summer. Phil came through and he got that championship the first year. Kobe was just afroed out. I remember he used to get the part in his back of his head. He used to be super, super high back then. He was just doing what he could to be a little bit different. He was swagged out. He was finding his space. He was finding, you know what I'm saying? He was finding his footing, trying to figure out how to shake off those 3 air balls that he had in the playoffs against the Utah Jazz. And then he finally figured it out and became the Mamba. So, yeah, shout out to him. Shout out to that. He was always ahead of his time. He very much was, man. Definitely. The best advice I've ever received is to live by the principles taught by Jesus Christ. The worst advice I ever received is to release music publicly to gain attention, fans, and value. The worst advice is I have to release music publicly to get. No, you don't have to release music publicly. But to gain attention, fans, and value? What? I'm going to leave that one alone. I want you to have your opinion, and I want you to stand on that. I don't want to debate nobody's opinion. That's your opinion. That's your opinion. But you're going for sure have to get out of that shell. Anybody can be any. Look, you know what? I'm doing it. Forget it. F it. Anybody can make music and keep it inside their studio and never share it. You can keep the music and you can say that it's the most valuable thing in your life and nobody can debate that. Nobody can do anything with that. But to believe that you can keep that music to yourself, never release it, and you're still going to gain fans is an absolute delusion. I say that with love. It is an absolute delusion. I don't know if you meant it that way, but it's an absolute delusion. It's an absolute delusion. Living by the principles of Jesus Christ, I love it. Amen. You have to release music publicly to gain. Yeah, that's the fans are in the public. The internet's the public still. That's the only way you're going to gain fans. You ain't going to, unless they come to your house. Every one of your fans going to come to your house. Worst advice was to conform. Best advice was to express complete honesty, the good, bad, the ugly of it all. Yeah, Chris, I like that one. I do like that one. I like that a lot. Conforming is not something that any of us should be looking to do. Like, I've never heard anybody talk about their biggest dreams as being something that is mediocre or something that is not so detailed to them that they have to live an extraordinary career to live it. You have to live an extraordinary career to do that. So to conform is completely against the nature of who you say you want to become. So important. Best advice was express complete honesty, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I think in our ecosystem that's beneficial. In the other ecosystem, they use that against you. That's why people don't want to do it. And some people are just not confident in doing that. I appreciate that love, King Wilson and Ricky Ross Jr. I do. Shouts Carter, man, appreciate you, Doomega. I thought keeping my beats was the way to go until I realized I don't like to use my time doing something and not display it. Courtney, I'm glad that you chose to share your music with us because I have fallen in love with this beat tape. It has been the soundtrack to this season of my life, and I'm grateful that you did. Worst advice that Dion Grace. Yeah, go ahead and put some, if you got some worst advice, best advice that maybe I missed when I was talking to folks, go ahead and share that. Worst advice was to do what's popular, then switch to my true craft after I blow up. Greatest advice I ever received is just be yourself. I love that one. I love that one. I do love that one. Because these folks out here will have you convinced. Let me turn this music on. These folks out here will have you convinced that the only way for you to find success, first of all, is to blow up. What the hell is blow up? And why don't we all have a definition to what blow up is that is the same? Blow up to me means having millions and millions of streams. No. Blow up to me is to be all on TV. No. Blow up to me is to be in a magazine. No, but magazines are not relevant anymore. No. But blowing up to me is for my favorite artist to want to work with me. No. Blowing up to me is everybody got these different. No wonder it feels so elusive. Can't put a name on it. Can't put a detail on it. Everybody's chasing an imaginary destination and nobody has the coordinates to it because everybody's driving to different places in pursuit of what they think is the same thing. You mean become famous? Is that what blowing up is? Being famous doesn't necessarily mean being successful. It means being successful in the category of notoriety. Doesn't mean success in the category of finance. Have we not seen examples of that many of times where folks have all the popularity in the world and cannot afford to live the lifestyle they're living? What is blowing up? What is blowing up? We need to make that next. What is blowing up? That is talk from the other ecosystem. What is blowing up? And if you never put a name on it, if you never write it down, if you never have detail to what it is, and you put it into materialistic things, I'm going to tell you right now, spoiler alert, you're going to be disappointed. Because the worst thing that can happen is you get that thing. Imagine you get it. And then when you get it, the worst thing in the world happens. You figure out that it wasn't enough. You achieve that goal and you figure out it wasn't enough. That's probably the worst thing that can happen. We fall in love with the dream. We romanticize what it's going to be like when we get there. Our imagery is so much more beautiful than what reality actually is. And the most beautiful parts of reality is things that we can't even fathom within our dreams. So we walk around with careers that we push forward that have the prettiest of lighting, the prettiest of cameras, and then we get there and recognize that the fact that I'm here means that I still have more work to do. And the fact that I'm here means that if I haven't set other goals to move towards, I'm probably going to feel like I'm stuck. Can you think about one of the biggest goals that you've ever had that you achieved and then you got it? Maybe it was to get a diploma. And then you got it and realized that life starts now. And you realize life starts there. You thought it was just to achieve it and you realize life starts there. Domega, I appreciate that. I appreciate you. You realize it just starts there. What's the live stream schedule like? Mondays, critique my beats. Usually 3 or 4 p.m. I'm going to just make it all 4 p.m. Pacific time. 4 p.m. Pacific time. Mondays is going to be critique my beats. Submit your beats off, critiquemybeats.com in order to get a critique from myself as well as the community. Tuesdays, Flowcation. We make beats and songs for hours and hours on end on live stream. Wednesday is what we're doing right now, which is Community Gems. Community Gems. I love Community Gems. Y'all fill me up with a whole lot of information, a lot of energy, good energy. It might blow up, but it don't. But it might blow up, but it won't go pop. Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! Hey, I gotta go get a tag. I gotta go get a vocal tag. I need a female vocal tag that says "Community Gems." Community Gems. Community Gems. Community Gems. I need that.
I hope so.
I need that. That has to happen. Oh yeah, me getting an associate degree. I know that feeling for sure. When I had to apply for jobs that I'm nowhere near qualified for. Yeah, it's those moments that I'm like, there's a part of us that are empathetic for each other, that we're glad, we're not happy that it happened, but we're glad that you have the clarity, because then it means you can go where you really want to go. So, what's up, Cody? Glad to see y'all here. Okay, well, I think we're going to do that. Or how about it's the sound of gems and cash, then says community gems. You already, how you already remixing something that don't even exist? No, wait, Curtis. Wait. How about, what does the sound of gems sound like? And don't say coins. What does the sound of multiple gems falling on the floor sound like? That's not going to do it, fam. What in the sound design is going on in here? And then a cash register. Community gems. See? Y'all always trying to remix something. That's that producer in you. That's terrible. He said, well, I tried. Damn it. I tried, Curtis. Honestly, had any of us chosen any other thing than what we did, we wouldn't even be here on this live right now. Okay. I hear you. Depends on what floors. Depends on what the floor is made of.
I hope so.
You see, it's just see how deep that got for no reason. All I said was I want a tag that says community gems. Community gems. I just wanted to say like Maybach music. That's it. All right, my friends. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. That was fun. That was super dope. Greatly appreciate every single one of you. Y'all came through with the gems. Y'all came through with the gems. Hey, Community Gems will be back next week. That'll be the very last week that we're going to do it until the next year. Shout out to you, King Wilson, Courtney, Tyrant, Matt B, Rick Ross Jr., Dion Grace. Thank you. KNTSUGI, Cook Up, Fast Track, Suit and Tie, aka Reeves, Doom Mega, Jay Nandris. Whoa, Chris AK, HCC, everybody else that was in here. I appreciate you. Pearl Manhattan. Have a great, happy Native American Remembrance Day. How about that? Enjoy your time with family and all that good stuff. All right, Matt B, everybody have a good holiday. Take some time, get around the family, enjoy yourself. Don't be like Darnell. Have a good one, all right? Peace.